In our ongoing Boomtown series, we've been diving into how our growing population affects us, but the changes affect more than just humans.
That's right, it's having an impact on our wildlife as well. So our Nicole Hernandez looked into how this changing landscape has now changed the deer population here in the inland Northwest.
The aptly named Peaceful Valley is home to the river, a bunch of people, and wildlife. Spotting these deer always seems to seal the deal on the peaceful of the valley, until it's not so peaceful. Deer are having to adapt as humans destroy their peace.
It's all connected.
Samantha Bundick, hooved mammal expert, says it's not just here by the river, but across the entire inland Northwest.
They just figured out how to coexist.
Coexisting is far from thriving, though.
You are seeing a declining population of deer.
Some human-caused.
It got hit by a car.
And some more natural, like from chronic wasting disease.
It's pretty bad. It's a disease you don't want to have in your state.
That's where Hunter Westacott comes in.
The samples we take are retropharyngeal lymph nodes.
Both North Idaho and Washington test deer for chronic wasting disease.
We haven't detected it here in Washington yet, which is good.
But there are cases in Idaho and British Columbia.
It can have pretty detrimental effects on your population sizes if it gets a strong enough hold.
While the disease is natural, humans are contributing to its spread. One example with feeding piles.
Artificial areas where deer can congregate and spread disease that way.
Also our infrastructure, particularly roads.
There are roads that are real barriers and they cannot cross, and that fragments habitat.
Our roads are segregating deer populations. That's bad for a couple of reasons. One, the less room deer have to spread out, the easier disease can spread. Two, genetic variation.
Having a lot of genetic variation in a population is very important for long-term success.
Without the ability to disperse and migrate, that genetic variation is harder to accomplish.
There is research showing that subspecies are being created because the genetics aren't being mixed anymore.
And then there's the obvious problem with roads.
Human collisions are one of the biggest mortality factors for ungulates.
Of all these problems, there's one thing in common. Us.
My advice is always to just let them be and enjoy watching them.
And when you can, plant native plants in your yard.
We're taking away from their habitat, and the best thing you can do is give it back to them.
An attempt to restore some of the peace the population had before us. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.